Okay, so the author of my book is Dr. Gail Saltz, and the title is Amazing You Getting Smart About Your Private Parts. The age range suggested for this book is 3 to 7 years, and it is meant for both boys and girls. So the book is about, it covers what each sex has as their private parts, as well as the appropriate names for them and everything that is inside of you as well, when it comes to the reproductive organs. It also talks about it is okay to be curious about yourself and the parts that you have as well as the other gender. And then it also talks about the changes within those parts and how babies are made. The book is meant to be used to answer questions kids may have regarding any of those topics I just mentioned. It is intended to be read by a parent to their child. If you had an older child, probably closer to that 7 range, you could let them read it, but I do think it is intended to be read with a parent to answer additional questions. As far as the reviews on this specific book, it has mostly positive reviews. On average, I guess its rating would be the 4.1 stars out of 5. The biggest issues that people had with this book is that some people found it to be inappropriate for the age range as young as 3 years. And then also it does not show an uncircumcised penis, only a circumcised one. And it also doesn't show the entire male anatomy as in detail as it does with the girl. So some of the parts that I enjoyed from this book were on this page. It says, lots of people have their own special names for their private parts, but it's good to know what their real names are too, which I think is good for kids to know. And then also on this page, where it shows the bedroom, it says, it's perfectly natural to be curious about your private parts and want to touch them, but this is something you should do in a private place like your room. So it discusses that curiosity. Some other images on here that may be part of it being beneficial is they do show some, I guess, more graphic images with the body parts, the anatomy, how they work. It does show the different age ranges as well for those parts. So some of the negative reviews, I guess, 2 stars, not appropriate for recommended age. Another one, 2 stars, too graphic for the preschoolers. I wanted to read this too. Great concept though. One that has 1 star says, incomplete anatomy, completely inappropriate as learning material. As far as this book goes for answering questions for kids, I highly recommend this book. I could see myself using this to talk about sexuality with a young person. I actually did use this book last year when my 5-year-old came home asking questions after preschool. I did find it helpful, but I did find that some of the material may have been beyond what she was wondering about, so we did not read the whole book. We cut off once her questions were answered, and I plan to save this book when the rest of the questions come up. And I think parents should read the book themselves before reading it to their kid. That way they can figure out what is most appropriate for their own child and what the questions their child has and how it relates to that section of the book. I do think it is in a good order to maybe cut off at some point and finish that for a few years down the road.